The last class we had started with the this what characteristics of the database approach. So once again, I'll just give a glance for that in a short way, and then soon I'll begin with a new topic which is called as actors on the scene. Okay, just a minute. So we'll share the screen. So here the four characteristics were there. Self-describing nature of a database system. Directly I'll start with here. It contains not only database but also the complete definition. If I say I'm going to give the example as this what roll number, name, and all the marks, 5 subject marks, and then percentage grade here. If I say this is what Sai Prakash is a one data. What Sai Prakash is? The constraint of the data type is what where it is getting included. That is what name. Okay, and the name how it is, what kind of a constraint it is there here, what kind of a data type is there. That is what the varchar or string. Still data is available. It is not only database but also the complete definition. Okay, and where it is going to get stored in the database catalog. And whatever the information is getting stored in the database catalog, it is called as a metadata. What is a metadata? It is a data of data here. Okay, that was the first characteristic. Second characteristic specifies that insulation between programs and data abstraction here. The first one, insulation between programs and data. Whatever the changes in the file-based system, like an older generation system here, if you're going to make a changes in any of the file, you are supposed to ensure and make sure that changes has to be made for other files also. The example I had created as a first semester to the 6th semester or 5th semester. When you came to the 5th semester, your mobile phone has been updated. Assume that here. So whatever the mobile number you had, you are supposed to update in the 5th semester changes has to be made for other previous semesters also here. So it is a time consuming, but if you think about the database management system in this approach here, if you make only one changes, only for first semester, if you make automatically, the change is going to get applied for the second sem, third sem, fourth sem, and fifth sem here. So what is this here? Insulation between the programs and the data here. And wherever you are going to make the changes, it is not going to get affected for other files or other tables of the database here. Okay, and the data abstraction means what? Whatever the operation you people are going to do, it is completely hidden from the designers here. Now, current example, it is what registration for the vaccine purpose. Just we are entering our own data, but we don't know at the back side how the data is getting stored or how the data is getting created, where it is done here. That we don't know here. So it is completely data model hides the storage and implementation details that are not of interest to most database users. Okay, and one more, it is what the characteristics that allows the program data independence. It and the program operation independence, it is called as the data abstraction here. Completely independent should be there here. It should not be dependent on others also. Okay, then support of multiple views of the data. Many users will be there, each of whom may require a different perspective. I said in the last class, I want the database to be viewed as a roll number, name, then what marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, marks 4, marks 5. This is my view. Okay. Actually, the database is what after marks 5, total percentage grade. Actually, it is here. My view is only of roll number, name, marks 1 to marks 5. Sai Prakash wants to view the database as roll number, name, total percentage. Okay. Maitri wants to view the database as a roll number, name, and percentage. Everyone has a different view. It is not compulsory that database has to be viewed how originally it is being created. No, You can select the way you want here. Okay, with the help of option called as a query, select, provide the variable name and from which table that you have to work here. Then whatever view, now subset, I mean perspective. The view may be a subset of the database here. Actually, it is name, roll number, marks 1, marks 2 till marks 5 total percentage grade. My view it is what name, roll number, 5 subject marks sufficient. This is what view, and this is what called as the subset of the database, or it may contain virtual data here. I'm going to look the data as a roll number, name, marks 1 to marks 5, which is going to have a virtual data that is derived from database. Yes, original is a layer hai, but it is not explicitly stored here. What I'm going to view, roll number, name, and this what marks 1 to marks 5. I am viewing that. I am checking like this way. Whatever checking is done, it is not getting stored. You will say that Shruti ma'am has viewed like this way, so it has to store like this way. No, it is not. Explicitly, it will not store. You are supposed to make it implicitly. You are supposed to create a view, which is going to include in your third unit. That also will be taught with you. Okay. This is the third characteristics, and the last characteristics is what? Sharing of data and multi-user transaction processing here. There is a feature or the characteristics called as a data sharing should be there here. A multi-user DBMS, as its name implies, must allow the n number of users to access the data at the same time. And now I'm going to access the data for the vaccination purpose. I'm accessing now. At the same time, Maitri is also accessing, might be Sai Prakash also accessing. Same time it is working here. It is not that Shruti ma'am should finish, then Maitri will come, then Sai Prakash will come. No, it is not required. You can access the same data at the same time. So that kind of a feature or the characteristics is allowed in this what database management system here. Okay. Then, sorry, might be fast here, will go slow. Data for multiple applications is to be integrated and maintained in a single database here. All the data of different location, wherever you're going to store, it has to be provided in a single database here. Then database system management system must include concurrency control software. What exactly is concurrency control software? First of all, it is specifying that the user should have the ability to access the database at the same time, which is completely related to the concurrency control, which means what? Take an example of the reservation of seat on airline flight. Okay, I'm going to book the seat on the airline flight. Assume that my first seat is there here, and I have reserved immediately. At the same time, kind of seconds, my 3 hours also done here. So what happens? Whoever the first person has reserved, immediately it should be visible to other users, whoever are about to register. Immediately it should be visible that already the seat is being booked. What happens? The confusion should not be there here. The clashes will start here. I have reserved. At the same time, Maitri also will tell me that even I have reserved. To whom it is going to give for the seat here. So for that purpose, concurrency should be there here. Whatever the transactions you are going to make this, which is called as an online transaction processing system, should handle the concurrency control. Immediately, that data should be said that out of stock. Normally, people will say on Flipkart or Amazon.com, wherever you are going to purchase any of the product, they will show that out of stock. If they don't, if we go on purchasing, request you to please mute their mics here. Just a minute. Who is this? Adarsh. Yes, thank you. Online transaction processing system applications. If from the Amazon.com or Flipkart, somewhere we will be seeing out of stock. That is being managed by the concurrency control, which means whatever the stock is available, that will be updated here. Once the stock is not there, it should be visible out of stock here. Okay, that is the transaction processing here. So this was about your characteristics of the database management system, which was having 4 self-describing nature. The second one, insulation between the programs and data abstraction. And the third one, multiple views of the data. And the last one, it is what? Sharing of data and multi-user transaction processing here. This was done. Any doubts in this? Anyone? Let me know if you have any doubts. Okay, we shall proceed with the next topic. Actors on the scene. Yes. Whenever you are going to join the company or you are going to be a database user or normal way, right now, this vaccine registration, we are actors itself here, okay? If you are accessing your Facebook or if you are going to create a Gmail account, you are actors on the database itself here. But what are the actors here? So let us have a look today for the topic which is called as actors on the scene, or you people can call it as a database users here separately. Don't get confused between the database users and actors on the scene. It is completely similar here. Hundreds of users are involved in working of large database. When you join the company or normal way, right now itself. Now after few days we will start working for the database. When you are going to work for the large database here, getting your this right now example of this word vaccine or Aadhaar card here. It is not only being done by the single person or a group of 5 people. No, it has a large team. It is available here. So 100 of users are involved in working of the database. No matter what kind of a database is there here, but many users will be there. Like design, yes, use and maintain. One person should be handled for defining, other person should be done for constructing, and the last person or any other person should manage for the manipulation also should be there here. It is not only one person here. If I'm going to have a records of 10,000 records where I have to create a database, it is impossible for me to create such a large database here. No, it is not here. So there the word which is called as actors on the scene, which is used for the large database like design, use and maintain here. Use will be the we people, we are going to use that here. So users or actors may be divided into three parts here. Make a note of this. You are going to have this question for your examination every year. It is being appeared. Explain the actors on the scene or explain the categories of the actors on the scene. So the categories or the parts are divided here are database administrator, database designer and end users here. Okay, database administrator, database designer, and end users. Take a live example for the vaccine registration purpose here. The website is being created, right? So for that website, the database is also available. You might be knowing your seniors are creating the project here. So of course, you're also going to create a project when you're going to be a sixth semester. So that time, you are not going to make a design of your website. No, it is not. You are supposed to maintain the database also here. If you write the name, roll number, address, anything, marks 1, marks 2, ये जो है data है ना, has to get stored somewhere in the database also here. So for that, the team is also arrived. Now this similar tiny projects is being done by the single person or two people. That is okay. But for this corona, this vaccine, yeah, cowin.government.in, that is there here. For that purpose, the website designing is being handled by designer of the website people, and the database. For this database is, many people are taking that vaccine here. So for that vaccination purpose, database should be there here. So for that, there are the people who are going to manage the entire database. और ये डेटाबेस एक्टर्स का काम डिजाइनिंग में नहीं आएगा, मतलब वेबसाइट डिजाइनिंग में नहीं आएगा, सिर्फ डेटाबेस में आएगा. सो फॉर द थ्री कैटेगरीज आर देयर. डेटाबेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, you can say it as a DA, I mean DA, not DAA here. Your subject. This is what is it? Data analysis and algorithms. Not that. DA, single A here. So DA, then the database designer and end users here. Okay. So three categories are there here. Let us start working separately. Database administrator. The word administrator specifies that. Can anyone tell me what is administrator? Anyone? Yes, Dinah? Or Simran? Yes, anyone, please. My question is that what is administrator according to you?
Monitoring the data.
Exactly, but what kind of a monitoring the data here? Nobody? Fine. Try to interact, please. The word administrator specifies that he or she is not going to have a knowledge of creating a database. Only he has a knowledge of collecting the data, who is going to design the data, who is going to construct the data, who is going to maintain the data. Only that much. So for that purpose also one person should be there, no? So who he will decide. He will take orders. So here we like to see he or she is the chief administrator who oversees entire database, only monitoring. Someone has told me the answer, only watching, observing, nothing to be done. Okay, and manages the database system, including the data and software. Yes, what kind of a data is there, and for that purpose, storing of the database, what kind of a software is being used. Now your project will start here. N number of database applications are there. Backend is there. MySQL is there. Then Apache Tomcat. In that Apache Tomcat, you will be having this what XAMPP server that is there, which is getting connected here, connected server for the XAMPP database here. In that HTML database, you have to work MySQL or SQL database or NoSQL database or MongoDB. Mango season is there, I know, but the kind of database which we call it as a MongoDB here, okay, Mongo database here, that is there. So for that, what kind of a software is required? He has to check here. Data is also being collected, but he is not going to go separately. Give your roll number, name. No, someone is going to make the person to collect the data here, okay. Then the responsibilities include are authorizing the users to access the database. Yes, this is the main part. Privilege has to be given. Who will access the database? The person is going to have the privilege only for reading the data, I mean, observing the data, or the person is going to have the privilege only to write the data like changes karna hai, that should be there, or the person who is going to have the privilege or the ability for both the operations like a read and write also. So authorizing the users to access the database here. Then coordinating or monitoring its use, how the database or data should be coordinated with other tables. Now the word I'm taking the tables, of course it is going to come in that practical part. You are going to go along with the tables creation of the database here. So then acquiring hardware, software for upgrades, etc. Many things are there. Hardware is also there, or the software what we can install here. Now hardware means what, database should be there here, right? Hardware. If you swipe the ATM card for the ATM machine, that database should be there. It should coordinated with the hardware as well as the software. The kind of software is being installed, and the cooperation should be there for the hardware also here. Okay, so database administrator job is for monitoring, coordinating, and authorizing the database here, like manages entire the database system here. So this is the second person, database designer. Now assume that here the database administrator is like example of this. What? Let me take example. Sai Prakash and Maitri are the database administrator. They are only seeing what the person is doing here. Okay. Then database designers. Database administrator will appoint the database designers. And he will decide Who is going to be the database designer here? Now, designer means what? Someone has to design, someone has to create a creative view. Structure should be created here. Getting Maitri and Sai Prakash only collected database. सिर्फ रोल नंबर नाम लिया है, तो वो रोल नंबर नाम कहीं तो स्टोर करना पड़ेगा ना, और स्टोर करते वक्त कुछ तो स्ट्रक्चर देना पड़ेगा. So some person should be appointed here. So these are the responsible for identifying the data to be stored in the database. Now, identifying the database means what? One file is there. In that file, the data should be stored as a name, roll number. तो ये एक file हो गया, और एक file है. In that file, the database should be stored roll number, name, marks 1 to marks 5. So here, the database designers will identify the database to be stored in the database here. Okay, and for choosing appropriate structures to represent and store this data. Roll number can be only figures, or the roll number can be a mixture of alphabets and numbers. So that kind of a data, in what structure it has to be stored? Either number or either varchar, means string or integer. They have to decide here. Then, and the last point is what? Interaction with a group of users for the database view. Yes, when the database has to be constructed, those people have to start working. Like assume that, let me take an example of this, what Renuka and Aishwarya. Those people are the database designers, and some customer will come them near them, and they will tell, Madam, we want to store the database here. So they have to interact with others also, customers. So what kind of a database do you want to get implemented? They will say that we want to make the arrangement to store the phone number also. So database designer should have an ability to take the note of that phone number should be stored in a respective way. Getting what size will be there, how much capacity the database can be stored here. If you want to increase the database size, what has to be done? Interaction should be there here always. Okay. So this is the database designer actually working of the database. Create karo, store karo, update karo. These are the database designers here. थोड़ा structure तो create करना है, basket prepare करना. Getting in that basket, those people have to store the data here. And the last one, I mean third one, end users here. What is the end? After creating the database, after deciding who is going to access the database here, the last is what? End users here. So let us see. End users are the people whose job require access to the database for querying, updating and generating reports here. Database designer का काम क्या है? Database create करो, structure create करो और data store करते जाओ. तो अभी database ready हो गया. Then end users, who are this here? Where the database is available, which is being created by the database designer. Now these are the end users. They are going to access the database, getting how, and they are going to make a query. I said previous way, this what multiple view of a database, the characteristics of database management system. We have the original database as roll number, name, marks 1 to marks 5, total, percentage, grade. Getting there already it is dead. My query is what? I want to see only roll number, name and marks 5, all subject marks 5. So that time I have to make a query, and when I am making the query, I am the end user. But still, what kind of end user? That is not being decided. So that is also available. We can look for that forward. Then updating. If I want to make a changes for the marks here, I can be the updater here. I can be the end users. And generate reports, I take a printout. That is also the kind of end users here. So what is the job of the end users who are accessing the database? For what purpose they are accessing the database? That is querying, updating and generating reports here. So there might be the separate question also for your examination. Who are the end users, and explain the categories of the end users here. So let us have a look for this. There are 4 end users: casual users, nav users, or you can call it as a parametric users also. Okay, and sophisticated users. And the last one, it is what? Standalone users. 4 end users are there: casual, parametric users, casual, parametric user, sophisticated, stand-alone user. So separate, let us make here casual end user. What is the word casual? Anyone please explain me simple words I'm asking. Let me know. What is the word casual? And observing today very less strength is there. Why so? Attendance. Arpita, can you tell me what is casual? Shubham? Any Shubham? I think all Shubhams are there, right? No. Shubham Ashtekar, Sutar. Saurabh, tell me what is casual? Swati?
Who occasionally access the data.
Who? Can you repeat me 1 second, please?
User who can occasionally access the database.
Occasionally. Here the definition is there. I can also know that. But yourself, you try to tell me now what are the casual. What is the word casual?
Just a simple and normal one.
Just a simple and normal one. Kind of okay. Not much correct. Any other? I have received a message. Let me see what answer someone has given. I don't know who is this person. Individual who wishes to execute queries once or twice a month. Yes, the right answer somewhere. You are the casual end users. When you will be casual end users, let me tell you. When you will observe the results of RCU. Now it is not possible because of the pandemic period. So her semester you will see. No, every semester you will see the results. So this is what the occasionally. You will not observe daily results. You need to check the results and that also will be not there. So have a look here. Occasionally access the database, but not all the time, not daily. But they may need different information each time. Just a minute. Give me a second here. My laptop battery is getting drained. Let me switch on the charger here. Yes, those are the occasionally access. We are running out of the time also, but let me finish this part. Those are the occasionally access the database, but they may need different information each time. Now, for the first semester, you have checked the results, right? So that time your first semester results was there here. Then are you going to check that first semester results in number of times? No, not required, and it will be not visible also. So what happens? Then you will go for the second semester here. So that time also second semester results will be there. When they not like a different. Same, similar results will be not there like a first semester. It will be different here. So they have said occasionally access the database, but they may need different information each time. They are typically middle or high level managers or other occasional browsers here, or browsers will be there all the time. Information registration should be there, like the registration for any kind of application here. So they expect every time new data has to be entered. So these are the casual end users. Next part it is what nav or parametric end users. Who are the nav or parametric end users? Let us have a look here first. Typically the biggest group of users. We can take the biggest group of users for the vaccine purpose itself. Corona vaccine. Frequently who always who always query or update the database using the standard chained transactions that have been carefully programmed and tested in advance. Chained means what? Now, normally we go to the bank, right? We go to the bank for the purpose of depositing or withdrawing the amount. So whatever the transactions we do here, depositing or withdrawing, when we deposit, the balance should get increased, right? Updation should be there. And when we withdraw here, the balance should be deducted. So that amount has to be deducted and immediately it should be viewed here. So that is what the chain transactions and tested in advance here. So here are the examples: bank tellers, reservation clerks here. Of course, the bank tellers, why those are the bank tellers, parametric end users? Because those are the people who are working constantly for the bank database. If someone deposits the amount, immediately those people should be updated what the balance is there in their account database here. So that is it. And what about the reservation clerks? Yes, as I have told that I'm going to book the seat, first seat in the airline flight here. It should be reserved. It should be said that it is being booked. You cannot access that seat here. So that is also the kind of traded transactions. Okay. So this is the parametric end users. Then sophisticated end users. What are the sophisticated? Those are what I can say, sophisticated means what? Well disciplined or well mannered. Sophisticated end users includes engineers. They need a perfect structure or perfect format of the database. Scientists, business analysts, and others who thoroughly familiar themselves with the facilities of the database management system so as to implement their applications to meet the complex requirement. Some customer is there, he or she wants the application to be created, and in that application he wants according to him the database to be created, and he or she is a person who is familiar to the database management system. So those are the sophisticated end users here. And the last one, stand-alone users here. They maintain the personal database by using the ready-made program packages. एक database application जो database के साथ है, so that they will maintain here. They will take. They are not the uh, orders people. Like they will not tell that, I want this kind of a database. I want to include the name, roll number. No. However, the package is there, that package they will take and start using that database here. That provide easy to use menu or graphic based interfaces here. Getting ready-made packages to be used here. And the last kind of a database actors on the scene is what? Software engineers here. System analyst. Who are the software engineers here? System analyst determines the end user requirement of the end user. Now here, who are the end users? Those are the who are going to access the database here. Who will use the database here? So here, for these people, software engineers or system analysts should determine the requirements. What kind of a requirement they need? What kind of a database has to be created for the, especially for NEV or parametric end users here, and develop specifications for CAN transactions that meet this requirement. Why parametric end users? Now in the bank tellers, if you go, they have to create a database in such a way that if withdraw operation is done in the bank, immediately the amount has to be deducted from the respective balances. So that updation should be there, which is being handled by software engineers here. Where is लिखते जाने का? Getting application programmers implement the specification as program, then they test, debug, document, and maintain the CAN transactions here. Here also the job of the software engineer, it is what? Already database is being created and it is there already. They will write the queries, because queries, n number of queries will be there here. So they have to create such a queries that outcome should come unknowingly being asked by the people. As I have asked, I want to check the query here. Select roll number, name, max 1, max 2, max 3, max 4, max 5 from 4th semester. This is my query. I have not told to the software engineer. No, it is not being told to the software engineer. So software engineer job is what? all the query has to be created unknowingly here. Any queries can be asked here. Such analysts and programmers are called the software engineers. So this was about your today's class actors on the scene. Please start giving the attendance. Those who have doubts, you can ask me. Yes, anybody is having the doubts, you can ask me. And others, please start giving the attendance. Others, please start giving the attendance. Nobody is having the doubts? If so, you can leave my class. Stay home, stay safe, take care.